Tither pigs, oh yeah. They're gonna talk about sweet, sweet RPGs. And it's the Titter Pigs, the RPG podcast. Am I getting paid for this one?
Hey listeners, welcome back to another episode of the Titter Pigs. This is episode 62. Scott and I are back in the studio. We are live. We are doing this. It is the end of Pride Month. Woohoo! And Scott is out of the closet. Yes!
I was telling you I was cleaning my closet, okay? Let's not that.
But you had to come out of the closet.
It's true. That's true.
He did.
But,
he came out. He was wearing a dress.
Yes. So
now, it was draped over his shoulder, but he was still wearing it.
Hey, man, I told you. This is just between you and me, and then now...
And all of our listeners.
Oh, well, great. No, a happy Pride Month to one and all. And for those of you who did come out of the closet, congratulations. And
we love all of you.
Yeah, for those still in, we still love you and all of you. But hope you had a wonderful month celebrating who you are and who you were meant to be. But that aside, yes, episode 62. Fuck.
6 plus 2 is 8. We're growing. We're getting bigger.
These introductions aren't meant to be, drawn out or too long. But I've got something to complain about. So we can either go.
Shit!
We can go into
Strap
that.
in, everybody. Scott's on fire.
We can go into that now. We can go through some other things first. I'll leave it up to you.
Let me set the fire then. Let me light the fire. Since
Okay.
I can see you're already smoking from the ears.
Yeah.
All right. So before we get to our main part of our episode, which is great. I love our episode tonight. So
Yes.
but free RPG day. This is the as of this intro, it's the end of June. Free RPG day was just last weekend. And what do you know? I was unable to participate in free RPG day because nobody within nearly 100 miles of me was participating. Yeah. No store.
Yeah.
When I went to the website, I had to search in a 120-mile radius to find a store.
Yeah.
Now, I get it. There's definitely an economical, financial burden on stores to participate, and they've got to figure out, is there a return on investment? Boxes this year were like $180.
Oh, fucking hell.
$180, $185, something like that.
Yeah.
I get it. And I've had some discussions with folks in the industry, out of the industry over it this year. And, it bothers me that stores piss and moan. I buy a box, people come in, they take shit, they don't buy anything, they leave. I never see customers, and they don't become customers.
Right.
Newsflash, hold on. McFly, yo, motherfucker. If you don't, as a business, if you don't entice people and make a day of it, like comic book stores make free comic book day a day. They do cosplay events, costume contests, they do sales, they make a whole fucking day of it.
Sure.
If this isn't like I forget the name of the movie, I'm drawing a blank. Field of Dreams, right? If you build it, they will come. That's not this.
Sure.
Like if you just throw the shit on the counter, people are just literally going to come in, they're going to take stuff, and they're going to leave. You have to build something around it. And those that do, like if I drove 90 miles or 100 miles up the road, there were several businesses participating, and they had games scheduled all day, games that were featured in the Free RPG Day kit, and they were successful. I just didn't want to drive 100 miles
to go
get a couple of things, and I would have gladly spent $50 or $100 in those stores. I just didn't want a 2-hour drive, the gas, lunch, 2-hour drive back.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So I feel you, but I'm going to play devil's advocate here and kind of take a somewhat
talk to me, teddy bear,
somewhat con position, but not totally. So I have participated in at least 3 free RPG days when my friend Darren used to own a game store. Now we did exactly that. There was an event, there was a bit of advertising. I was there to run some of the games. Right. One was a success. People showed up. Myself and others were there, and mind you, success meaning that maybe 30 or 40 people came in, sat down, participated. Yeah, but then there was another year where I sat there for 8 hours, ready to play. In fact, I was playing the first free RPG day of Vast Grim. Had it all set up and ready to run. I think this was when it was still like an ash can before it actually came out in a real book. Not a single fucker could give anybody who was there to run anything a time of day. And this was the typical stereotype of someone walked in, said, oh, how about this? How about that? They picked through a few things. And now it was like, well, hey, you should buy something, don't you think? And they're like, eh. And they walked out. And
You're not wrong.
And then mind you, people were, and then likewise, there's the real assholes who are walking in asking for, you're aware that most free RPG days have like 1 or 2 singular items, right? It'd be
the rare items.
Yeah, the dice box or a miniature or something. And they're usually okay, but my general opinion has always been those are the provisions of the store owner, right? They're not really out and about. And people would walk in, do you have the Flumph miniature? He's like, no, and they're like, all right, and they fucking get out of there and couldn't give a shit. So I feel you that for those who just kind of buy the box and do nothing, they're victims of their own negligence in presenting it. It's supposed to be a day. You don't need to have hot dogs and taco vendors, but you need to do some of the heavy lifting.
Yeah,
but yeah, and also, you don't have to give them away for free. They're marketing items. Hey, like the store I went to. So there's a local store in Orange, which is the only real decent local game store around anymore. And I didn't know he was doing Free RPG Day until he advertised something on Facebook. I'm like, oh, shit. So I went down there that morning. The store opened at 11. And I walked in that store at like 11:05. And there was already a dozen people here. And on the table, now, somebody told me they were only sending out 1 copy of it, but I don't know. But on the table was the last Dolmenwood RPG. And so I'm like, I snatched that and a couple others, but his precedent was, hey, it's $20 per free item. You spend $20, you get a free item, which is not unheard of, and the more you spend, the more you get. So yeah, these are things that the mere suggestion of, you really should spend something, and someone will buy like a Coke, right? And they feel like, they can walk away with, 4 or 5 books. But this guy flat out, no. Hey, you want something, you buy something. He took the bull by the horns and made it the case. And guess what? People didn't walk out. People made decisions on what they wanted because unless they were made of money, they weren't going to walk out with one of everything. But they walked out with free items. They walked out with something to benefit the store. Right. And so that's how it is. Right. But yeah, so
yeah. Now I don't know if the Free RPG Day program has any specific policy. Like if you're a retailer and you buy the box, you can't outright sell the items. But these are constraints in which you can do things. I don't know what their guidelines are. I'm sure they have some guidelines.
There's something. I think you can't outright sell them until a certain amount of time has passed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because that's, what is it? Usually about 2 weeks from now, you'll see them pop up on
Noble Night.
Noble Night, yeah.
Yeah, for a penny. They sell them for a penny.
Yeah, and there's this like, or you can add one to your purchase for free if you.
Yeah, if you spend $20, you can add one for you can add a singular item for a penny kind of thing, yeah.
But outside of that, I mean, again, I'd have to look into it because it seems to change every year, but it's up to the store owner to decide how they want to distribute it. And they just lay it on the table.
My local store, any local store that I've gone to that does free comic book day, it's 3 free. That's it.
Yeah.
That's the limit, 3 per person, so that it can go around. So I know there's some limitations on there should be some constraints on how you can administer it. So somebody doesn't go in and go, I want everything and just take a whole fucking box of stuff. Right. But if store owners and I'll get off my soapbox, right?
Sure.
Like store owners that are going to buy the box, they've got a financial investment involved in this. If they're literally just going to set the shit on the counter and expect people to walk in the door, spend money, or games to spontaneously happen without any involvement by the store in organizing anything or advertising, they're sorely mistaken. Things, this isn't like Field of Dreams. Like things don't just spontaneously happen.
No, you need to put some effort into it. And
like my local store, my little local store that my buddy runs, like he would literally just buy the box when it was a lot cheaper. He hasn't done it. He didn't do it this year. He would just set the stuff out and he would not advertise it until like 3 days before the weekend. And he would not run any games. He would not have any games run in the store because he would be out of town that weekend at some like UFS card flopping tournament in Florida every year, or Origins. And this year happened to be a Magic release weekend. I think it was
possibly. You're asking the wrong guy.
Or it was some card game release weekend. I don't know.
I'm sure.
So
but no. So
that's
my
bitch. Because I haven't been up to much. We recorded, and released an episode 2 weeks ago. I haven't been up to much.
Yeah,
I was looking forward to Free RPG Day, and
I
all the
get
way
it
up to the last minute, and nobody was on the docket.
And I get it, and just 2 more things, and we'll move on. But of course, the other thing is, of course, the growing cost. I mean, it is almost doubled.
Oh, yeah.
And then, of course, we have our friends outside of the U.S. who are paying a ridiculous amount of money to have it sent to them on top of it.
And they didn't get their boxes. Nobody they didn't get their boxes outside the U.S. got their boxes because, thanks to the U.S. government, they are stuck in customs hold. Yeah, outbound.
Yeah. So I mean, it's not just the circumstances of the Free RPG Day themselves, but it's, at least for this year, it's the circumstances of the shit that we're in within the world. So for those who said, you know what, fuck it, it's not even worth my time, hats off to you, completely understand. So
I get it. I get both sides of this coin.
Yeah.
There's decisions that have to be made, and I mean, I respect everybody's decision. It just sucks.
Yeah.
But what have you been up to? I lit the fire.
Well, I got a bunch of free RPG stuff, and you didn't. So, but that aside, all right. So, those who follow on the socials or whatever, and I may have mentioned it in the past, and I can't say too much about it because there is a slight NDA involved. But I am on my second playtest for Arc Dream. I am running.
Oh, you're going down that rabbit hole.
I mean, it's free. So I'm on a second playtest. Now, the playtest itself from Arc Dream, it's for Delta Green. And the circumstances involving it are essentially, run it with your group. You can say that you've been having fun with it, but don't provide any details, which is fine, and which I've done. And of course, once you're all done, please submit a report with your opinions and suggestions. And there's a couple questions. It's a typical. If you've been in one RPG playtest, you kind of done them all. It's all the typical stuff.
Sure. Yeah.
And then please try to get it done within. Usually it's 30 days to 4 to 5 weeks, right? Shouldn't be too much of it. Should not be too much of an issue.
Okay.
Well. Boy,
enlighten us.
Boy, has the scheduling gremlin bit me in the ass this time. So, this is the same group that we had that I used for the first one, and love them all. It's a new friend met online, and then 3 of my friends who are local, but because of the circumstances, we don't have time to meet every 2 weeks like we do when we play something local. So we're playing online. Now,
Okay.
And everyone has jobs, right? Everyone works, relatively decent hours. I mean, a couple of them kind of have an odd schedule, but people have work days, they have time off. But generally speaking, in the evenings, we should be able to play. And those evenings could be anywhere from 7 to 8 to 9 o'clock, as long as we're chipping away at the at the bit of granite until we finally finish, and the statue is before us, and we're ready to submit the report. So
I love the eye rolling.
Yeah,
Tell
so
me more.
I'm not going to go into too much detail, but there was 1, 2, I think 3, potentially 3 instances where we had set a definite schedule. For example, we're going to be meeting at 6:30 or 7 something on a Tuesday night. And we're all West Coast. Everyone's in California, so it's not like a UK thing or different time zone thing. Great, and we're talking maybe like 4 or 5 days later. We're not talking about a month later. I show up, and the other individual, Tim, shows up, and we're there kind of going, okay. And, we're doing the typical, let's just gab until people come on. And
as one does.
Yeah. And then eventually at a certain moment, you look at the time, you're like, where is everybody? So you send a message out, and then oh, that's tonight? I thought it was for tomorrow night. Now, I make mistakes. I will mention a time and forget something if I don't write it down. We all do. But for this particular session, I've been using Zoom, and just to save my brain a little bit of recall and having to take a bunch of notes, I let it record notes. Now, before anyone bitches, I know Zoom is an imperfect tool for shit like that, but at the very least, it gives a couple highlights. But what it does do is very clearly, when I said Monday at 6:30, there's a little bullet point that says, and Scott said Monday at 6:30. So I check the notes. I look at it. I'm like, well, maybe. And of course, this was like the first time, and I'm like, was ready to brush it off. I'm like, okay, maybe it was my bad. Knowing it wasn't, but it's like, okay, we'll meet tomorrow. And then another issue comes up where we have a particular day aside. It's like, oh, I can't make it until later. Oh, okay. How much later? Oh, well, maybe like 9 o'clock. Fine. We're all at home. We're adults. We don't have bedtimes, but my cutoff time is 10. Okay.
I can play for an hour.
So I mean, and again, the extraneous circumstances are, is work related, odd hours, and I get it. And then like the third time, same situation. Tim and I meet at a particular time, start waiting around, and I get a message from 2 of them saying we're running late. We'll be home soon. And then we sit and chat for a while. Another hour goes by. Drop them a message. Hey, we're almost home. Okay. Another hour goes by. Hey, where are you? It's like, oh, well, we've had some family issues tonight, so we're going to have to cancel. Now, you and I both stand by, the foundation of family first. The situation and shit, and also shit happens. But
yeah.
If shit was going to happen, you kind of probably knew 2 hours earlier and could have said something. So we're not going to sit around for 2 hours. And then the third one, which was weird. So I'll cut him some slack. The third one, who is usually really good about his schedule, when he was like just radio silence, dead. And so trying to get a hold of him and no message. And I'm like, now I'm getting concerned because this guy is, but he's also, he also works odd hours. Maybe he got called in due to his particular job. And so nothing. So I, woke up the next morning, shoot him a message, and nothing still. Then finally he gets back to me, and said, what happened? I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, oh, there was a game that night. I'm like, yeah. It's like, oh, I just completely forgot about it. And meanwhile, I'm looking at the Discord where it has everything, hey guys, we're meeting this day.
Yeah.
Hey, where's everyone at? So, I mean, to be fair, the people involved other than Tim, the whole social aspect of online, working within Discord to schedule games. These are all casual gamers. I love them dearly. They're good friends, but they're pretty much what most of us consider just like a consumer gamer. They love RPGs, they play it, but when that book goes on the shelf, they don't think about any of it. It's gone. So I will brush some of that off. But the mitigating issue is like I am down to less than a week to wrap this thing up. And I need to get a play report out no later than the 5th with their opinions on it. So, so I'm kind of stuck in a situation of like, well, do we just review what we've played? Do I give them the PDF and say, well, here's the fucking ending. Let's, this is what could have happened. What do you think? Now, outside of that, everyone has legitimate criticisms, concerns, and pluses and minuses about the scenario, which is great.
Okay.
I just want to make sure those are addressed because it needs to. This particular scenario, having fun with it's going to need a bit of fine-tuning, and that's the whole...
It needs refinement. That's fair.
Yeah. But, I mean, just kind of... And so the capper was that, but then at the same time, everyone, this is Scott bitching about scheduling, by the way. I'm trying to get a local game going. My son, who wants to try out D&D 3.5. For whatever reason, fine. He's my son. I don't care. We'll try it. My other friend, Robert, who is a big fan of 3.0, has been trying to get a 3.5 or 3.0 game going for a long time. Loves it. Familiar with 3.5. He's like, I'm in. Another friend of mine who played in Dolmenwood said, sure, I'm interested. And I'm like, does anyone know of someone? Robert's like, yeah, I got a new guy. I'm like, great. Has he played any RPGs? No. I'm like, fantastic. Let's get him rolling. And he pops on to the chat, excited. He's never played RPGs before. He's heard about it. This is great. I'm looking forward to it. I'm like, great. Let's schedule a day. So first week, no go. He works odd hours. Sometimes he can be working from like 11 to 9 at night, God. 7 to 6. It's just, so nothing paired up.
Okay.
Second week. Okay. Everyone's fitting a schedule. Perfect. Now this is session 0, mind you, so you don't want to miss anybody. Day before he's like, oh, I forgot. I'm doing stuff tonight. Okay. You're new.
Jesus.
You're new. We'll just kind of, okay, next week. What is next week? Well, the next week is, my whole schedule is from 10 a.m. to 9 p.m. But I'm off Sunday. I'm like, well, nobody else is available Sunday. So.
Oh.
Can we...
And let me guess, the week after is puppies having kittens.
Probably, yeah. I mean, so, but here's the thing. I'm like, okay. Everybody has available time on a Thursday, right? How about we just get together? I mean, he lives local, he's near me. It's not like he's having to drive 40 miles. Like, how about we all just get together and, 9 o'clock. In fact, the other two, you want to get here a little bit early, great. But again, we're all adults, 9 o'clock, maybe 2 hours, everyone can go home and still get some plenty of rest, especially if you don't have to be at work until 10 a.m. the next day. Yeah. And let's get this done. Once we get the characters rolling, I can start working on the campaign and we can start worrying about, the weekly schedule of play, which is a lot easier because you don't necessarily need everybody after a certain point. Someone can't make it, great. We've got quorum. Let's play on. 3 times I have asked this in the group chat. No answer.
Then shed him like a fucking...
Yeah. Robert's like, is he becoming an issue? I'm like, he's fucking killing me, Smalls. I just, we should have got this done a month ago. And here we are, I mean, and if this is going to be what it's like in the future, then, I mean, I appreciate his enthusiasm.
It's not like you're trying to accommodate your son's best friend.
No.
It's different. Just shed him, drop him like a hot potato and move on.
Yeah.
You've tried. And
the hard thing is I appreciate his enthusiasm. I mean, literally the posts, if you look at them, it's like somebody who just discovered it for the first time. And it's infectious. but it's part and parcel. It's like we don't meet for 2 hours every 5 weeks. This is not an escape room that you go to every once in a while. There's a bit of commitment involved.
It's like the younger crowd, like the 20-somethings who I love their enthusiasm, but they've just had a child.
Right.
And they want to play.
Right.
But they can't because they got familial duties. And it's like,
and rather than saying,
man, I want to accommodate and I'll try to work with you.
Yeah.
But then I can't play. Yeah. I got to cancel. I can't play. I got to cancel.
Yeah.
Okay, dude.
It's okay to say no. It's like, hey,
Yeah.
we're here
Know
when
your
you're
limits.
ready. We had someone drop out of the Impossible Landscapes game who was on their second child, and there's like 2 years between baby 1 and baby 2. I know what he's going through. Most of us do. And he's like, I'm sorry, this is goodbye. I've got, it's like, hey, I understand, but don't call it goodbye.
It's see you later. We'll see you soon.
You are welcome back at any point in time. We could be on our last session, and if you are available, boom, you're more than welcome. There's no obligation. I would, just so you know, it's okay. It's okay.
I've always told those players, you always have a seat at my table.
Yeah.
You don't ever feel bad. Like if any one of my players has to leave because of, children, youngsters, toddlers, babies and toddlers and stuff, and just family obligations. It's not goodbye forever. It's hey, take care of your family, and you got a seat at my table when your schedule permits. Just hit me up, and we're gonna make it work.
Yeah,
and if you can only do it on a rotating basis, we'll make that work. Just
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So I mean, I think it's time for me to get off of my soapbox. And by the way, I can't honestly remember if they listen to our podcast. So if you are listening and you know who you are, I still love you. You're still great. We're still going to play plenty of games, but something that requires a particular time schedule to get it through may not be the best fit. Let's just continue playing everything else at our own leisure and have fun. So nothing personal.
Facts.
Well,
nothing in this world should be personal. Let's just be real.
I know. How about we get into the meat of our episode? Even though this intro is running almost 30 minutes long, we might edit it down.
We're bad today. We're bad. All right, so our main episode, folks. Let's get on with it. In the studio, we recorded with Jared Twing, the amazing creator of an awesome game called Of Hearth and the Harrowing.
Yeah,
I got that right. I remembered. Ting.
Yes.
Inside joke. But no, great guy, great game. I think we had a great time and a great interview with Jared.
Yes.
Amazing dude.
Yep. Yeah. Jared's been making the rounds. He's been on, some other podcasts and YouTube channels, but don't let that dissuade you because he has not had his moment in the spotlight talking to us. So
that's right. So let's do it.
Let's do it. All right, listeners, it is interview time. And in this segment, we have a new guest with us today. Someone that we had the pleasure of meeting at Chaosium Con and who was captivated in our podcasting panel and was one of the full house we had witnessing what we were doing there. But who we have with us today is Jared Twing. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly.
You did.
All right.
Yay.
Excellent. And he
practiced.
What's that?
You practiced.
I know, a lot. Yeah, we are kings of mispronunciation. But Jared is here today to talk about many things. As usual with new guests, we go through their introduction to role-playing games and gaming in general. We may get a bit insight into what makes Jared tick, but more importantly, he's also here to discuss his new game of Hearth and Harrowing. And we'll get into the details of that shortly, but before we continue on, Jared, welcome, And
Thank
how are you doing
so
today?
much. I'm doing really good. Appreciate you having me on.
You are very welcome. So as stated, when we get new guests on, we ask them about their origin story, their introduction to gaming. It doesn't have to be RPGs, but that's our primary focus here. What was it? Now, I assume it started with a little Jared who may have been introduced to games. We've had people on where we've made the mistake and assumed, and they're like, "Yeah, I was like 35." So what is your origin story into role playing games?
Yeah, so I was a very, very young Jared at the time, and my middle school age brother, and he's 5 years older than me, so I'll let you do the math, was playing this weird game that caught my eye, and it was Advanced Dungeons and Dragons First Edition. And this was, you can now tell how many years ago. And I pestered him and his friends until they let me play some. They left it long, far behind and only played for a little while. And I kept going and have ever since. And it has just been a part of my life since then. And I've gone through every edition of Dungeons and Dragons and almost every game I could get my hands on at the time. I know I missed a few along the way because now there's way too many to count, but I grew up playing Star Frontiers, Twilight 2000, some GURPS, just ran the gambit, but always came back to that fantasy, sword and sorcery, Dungeons and Dragons as kind of the core. Mm-hmm. And, after playing and being the primary game master, the, forever game master of my group, and having tons and tons of really positive feedback on how I was designing adventures and the game sessions I was running, I was like, maybe I could actually do this. Right. Mm-hmm. So I began writing in an attempt to publish something myself. This was early OGL days, and I had no idea what I was doing and no idea the pain I was getting myself into or how to even go from idea to product.
Oh, okay.
So years and years go by, and at one point I worked with Jason Durrell at a video game studio. So my day job is as a video game programmer. And
I'm sorry.
I was talking to Jason one day over Slack or something after we were both off to different jobs. And I said something to the effect of, I keep trying to do this thing and I keep failing and I don't know what I'm doing. I wish I could just write for somebody else instead. Mm-hmm. And he said, well, come write for me. And so I did. And 8 years later, I've contracted with mostly Chaosium, but also did stints with Modifius, Cubicle 7. There's a few others in the list, but those are the three that I mostly focus on. Mm-hmm. And after hitting a bit of a slump, contracts are hit and miss on when you're going to be able to get them.
Right.
And so I decided that I had 8 years of doing this as a contractor behind me. Well, I guess at the time it was 7. And I thought, well, let's see if I've learned enough now that I could actually pull this off. And so at Chaosium Con last year, I brought Of Hearth and the Harrowing to the con as a beta test. Mm-hmm. Took it then from there to our local Central Texas con that I love, Chupacabra Con, and tested it there. Learned a ton about what made the game tick and what was good and what was bad. I was also working in the design side of video games than my day job at the time, so I learned more about game systems design and systemic loops and just thinking more systemically about game design.
Okay.
And brought all that together and created Of Hearth and the Harrowing. And here we are a year later, released at Chaosium Con. And we're copper now on drive-through, halfway to silver, and doing print on demand, and things are going really well. And the feedback at Chaosium Con and Chupacabra Con this year was people coming back that had played it the year before and were excited to see it on the calendar again. And people like I had one person at Chaosium Con who played it early in the con and asked me, can I sign up for the rest of the sessions, or are they the same thing? And that's the sort of feedback as a designer you really want to hear. And it just been really, I hate to use the term blessed, but like the book is out there, people are loving it, and I'm having a great time. Well,
I mean, it's the harvest of a lot of hard work, obviously. You know, you're not a fly by night, just woke up and said, I'm going to make a game. And then a week later, everyone's like, this is the darling of the hobby. But also very, accolades all around. In regards to that.
It's really crazy how much work it is once the product is actually done. Right. You think that the crunch is to get the product finished. And sure, it was a lot of work to get it there. But that is just the beginning. If you don't have the power of a publisher behind you and you're an indie like myself, like that is, and that work starts even before you're done with the book. But that is, a totally new kind of job that you have to be ready for.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Keith can attest to that because, I mean, he's, the stuff that he's worked in. Keith, he does various forms of editing and other things within the industry, and also has worked on projects, most recently, wrapping up Vermis with Alex Giat. And, even my general interactions and just personal things that I've done. I mean, one of the things that I would imagine that might have come up if you have not worked in Adobe Acrobat at all is, oh, sure, I just send this over and it prints out perfectly. No.
No, when the writing's done is... I'm by no means a native writer, right? But when the writing is done, that's really when the real work begins. The layout, the editing, the proofreading, the re-editing.
Art direction.
Yeah.
Art feedback.
Yeah.
Play testing.
Just so much to it.
Reincorporating. And all of that.
That's still just getting the book together. Let's say all of that is done. Now, how is anybody going to know it even exists?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Now you got to advertise.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and you have to shill for a living, especially if you don't have a publisher, like an established publishing house with an advertising budget. You got to be out there shilling. When you came and talked to us at the following our panel at the con, you asked us some great questions, and then follow up. Here we are, month and a half later. You're on the podcast. We're having this conversation. We're excited to hear that your game is doing well. It's been well received. But this is part of that shilling for a living now.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You got to have your elevator pitch ready. You got to be able to, in 2 sentences, tell somebody, what the game is and get them excited about it. And then, set that hook and hopefully.
So with that, how about you give listeners your elevator pitch for your game?
Sure. So Of Hearth and the Harrowing is a fantasy survival horror game built on the BRP engine, heavily inspired by OSR and set in a land of muskets and magic. You play heroes going out into a post-apocalyptic fantasy wasteland, trying to carve back from the wilds and from the horrible beasts that are out there a chunk of the realm. And you build there what we call a hearth. That is your home. It's your village. And you go out, find other survivors, bring them back, and continue to build that hearth up. And so it's this cycle of adventuring out into the wilds and then coming back and building up your hearth. And you do that cycle over and over again. You can layer in plots and subplots, but the game almost runs itself with that need to go out and explore, find things, and bring them back to your hearth. So heavily inspired by OSR, Darkest Dungeon, all sorts of different build your place and go out and go on adventures.
Yeah. No,
awesome.
You've got, I'm not saying it's a built-in fan base, but you do have fans of that particular style. First thing that comes to mind, of course, is Mutant Year Zero.
Yep. Yes.
Where you're existing in that, which there's no shortage of post-apocalyptic games, but Mutant Year Zero, of course, the focus is on the Ark and rebuilding, your personal location or headquarters or whatnot, and the added aspects of you're not just surviving, but you need to get resources to increase and build up your where you all are living and trying to reestablish yourselves. So I'm sure a lot of people who are fans of that might gravitate towards that.
Yeah, they did a follow-on Forbidden Lands, which is not really in any way related other than you have a place you build and you go out into this fantasy wasteland. That one has even more than Mutant Year Zero did of systems built around building up what you've got. And yeah, the nail on the head on that one. Exactly one of the touch points that we started with.
Yeah. So question, so as a video game designer, you work in the video game industry. Again, another niche that is extremely popular is the crafting survival games on PC games, Steam and whatnot. That there's fantastic ones out there. Some of them focus on the zombie survival, crafting and crafting horror game. But again, just the idea of your characters are existing in this world, but you're also involved in personalizing it. You're crafting your own, established location. You're dealing with certain things. So I guess a question would be is in my mind, it is important to have some sort of living, breathing world that is going to exist and carry on as you and your PCs are doing your thing. Is there something within the game that establishes that as a GM that standard things like world events, weather, aspects that occur only in this particular region or in this world or things like that? We've seen your book. I mean, it's not 60 pages.
It's no skinny mini.
No, it's no skinny mini. So how about we talk a little bit about the mechanics of it outside of the standard BRP things, but things that you may have modified. BRP wise, but also what brings Hearth and the Harrowing to life for the players.
Well, let's go back to the origin of your question. Like, what is it that drives the world? What is there that helps push that plot forward? So I talked about the adventuring phase and the Hearth phase, or this cycle, where you go from one to the other. Well, Hearth phases take a week at a time. And if you are off on an adventure, you cannot participate in the Hearth phase, but your Hearth still is doing stuff without you. And so when you get back from the adventure or before you go on the adventure, you can set your Hearth to tell your villagers, this is what you're going to do while we're gone. And then when you get back, you need to spend a Hearth phase in the Hearth to trigger advancement. And so that natural adventure and Hearth cycle generally takes about 2 weeks because each Hearth phase is a week.
Okay.
Well, every 4 Hearth phases, we trigger what's called a Harrowing phase. So the Harrowing in universe is this blight, this corruption that created the apocalyptic landscape that you're currently playing in. And it was an event 20 years prior in the land of Erasian where the game takes place that caused all of this badness to be there. And so every 4 weeks, once a month, at the end of the month, we trigger a Harrowing phase where you roll Harrowing events to see what's happening. You roll a number of them, some number for each Hearth that you have, because you can eventually have more than one Hearth. I believe it's D3 plus the number of Hearths you have. And you pick one as a game master to take place at the Hearth. And these can be everything from refugees arrive in the Hex to infestation of rats to corrupted, which are the evil, nasty mutant monsters that live everywhere. Corrupted arrive all the way up to like a herd of corrupted led by a massive corruptor arrive.
Okay.
And so this 2-page spread worth of a table gives you all these different events. And these are just examples. Game Master can come up with whatever they want. But this Harrowing phase is designed to give you not only something that happens immediately at the Hearth, but hooks that you can place in hexes around the Hearth, near the Hearth, that can change what's happened in the world. So if you've gone 2 hexes to the west and cleared out a set of ruins, and they're empty now, but the GM rolls some interesting event in the Harrowing phase, they could drop that into those ruins. Well, you may have cleared them out, but if you've not left guards there, something else is going to move in eventually. And so you can use those as rumors, as plot lines, as ways to drive more adventure other than just go out there and explore, find what you can, and delve adventuring sites or dungeons or ruins.
Okay.
Love it.
So, question. Why BRP and not another rule set. 5e, one of the Mutineer Zero.
Yeah, Year Zero engine.
Yeah, or the Year Zero engine.
Sure.
Or any other number of variants out there. So that's my question following along with, because we're talking about the rules. So
yeah. So
why one over another?
There's a couple of different answers to that. One, I had spent the previous 7 years starting with Chaosium, working in mostly percentage-based systems. I worked on RuneQuest. I worked on a book for Call of Cthulhu. I've worked on Lords of the Middle Sea, which isn't out yet. And so it is the system that I was most familiar with. Okay. So that was part of it. I needed something that had a 100% open license. And since BRP is out under the Orc license, I knew that, I could do whatever I wanted with it. And, I wouldn't have to pay somebody else royalties. As an indie, every person you have to write a check to is extremely painful. So, wanting to make sure that I could keep as much of it in the company to myself as I could. And then there was a little bit of, while I have played D&D in every edition, I have over time become a little disillusioned with large hit point pools and some of the mechanics that come with D&D. And I like the BRP system better. Now I took a hacksaw to it. I did not come out, and say, let's just use straight BRP and only BRP. I tried to make things simpler. Again, inspired a little bit by the OSR. This is in no way an OSR game, but inspired by, let's cut down the rules a little bit and make the GM do a little bit more of the decision making. But yeah, it was a little bit of all of those things: preference, license, capabilities, skill that I had at the working with the systems, etc.
Okay. Go ahead, Scott. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say. So other than the BRP as the foundation, do you borrow mechanics from any other systems and that you have incorporated into it? Example, of course, is this Harrowing system that you have. That's I would imagine that's not an established part of BRP, but obviously it's inspired. Amongst other things, but is there any other thing that is part of the game itself as a cohesive whole that may fall a little bit outside of what people may be familiar with BRP?
Yeah, I mean, the whole hex crawl system, the Hearth system, the Harrowing events, all of that was created for this game, but heavily influenced by many different games that are already on the market. I mean, no designer builds in a vacuum, right? And we all would like to think, oh, well, I came up with this great idea after playing 20 games of other types and that sort of thing, right? So, I mentioned Forbidden Lands, I mentioned Darkest Dungeon. Like there are definitely OSR games that are really popular. Like I love that kind of hex crawl, dungeon delve, let the players do whatever they want, sort of sandbox style of gameplay that is really popular in OSR. And so I wanted to capture that, but with a distinctly BRP style flavor.
Okay. So out of the box, as it were, out of the tin, players that are familiar with BRP games, be it RuneQuest, Call of Cthulhu, or some other older variant of BRP that's been published, will they feel comfortable picking up your game? Will they feel that sense of familiarity? I should ask.
I hope so. Like the things that we've changed is I removed special successes because it's too much math at the table.
Thank you.
Crits are now 10% of your rating that you're trying to roll against. So it's very easy to crit, and fumbles are just the highest end of the percentage dice range. But most everything is percent roll under. And like if you know that, if you've been exposed to the resistance table, if you know how magic in RuneQuest or Call of Cthulhu works, where magic is a skill that you have a percentage at that you can get better. Now we expanded that. I use the royal we like I've got a frog in my pocket, but we expanded
the company
that.
Is a we.
The company is a we. Me and the artist I hired. But so expanded that to include not just magic, but a whole system that we call overarchingly call powers, but it's divine magic, arcane magic, and maneuvers. So if you're playing a type of character like a rogue or a fighter or something like that, you have things that you can do that make you special and let you spend points to do things in combat or out. Just like the people who can cast spells. So every character gets 4 powers, 3 that are based on their adventuring profession, and 1 that all heroes have called Give Hope, which is, I won't dive into the details, but it's just about, helping each other push forward in the dark times.
Sure.
Okay.
So speaking of that, let's kind of get into the world itself. So it being inspired by OSR, obviously OSR games are based on a D&D foundation, which is, a class-based role-playing game, usually BRP, skill-based. Granted, there are archetypes that you can usually follow. So does Hearth and the Harrowing, is there established archetypes that they can draw upon, or it's essentially here's your toolbox, make whatever you want?
Yeah, so in BRP we call them professions. No, but
I'm cutting that out.
My attempt at being a geek. All right, so yeah, I mean, there are I don't remember how many professions there are in the book, but you actually get to choose 2. Okay. It is a very light life path like system where you get to choose a background profession, an inciting incident that made you move from that background profession to your adventuring profession, which is what makes you a hero. Okay. And those define the skill bonuses that you start with and the powers that you start with. But then you can literally take that adventuring profession, put it off to the side and say, well, now we're playing a BRP game. Whatever skill I use, I can increase. If I find somebody that can teach me a power and I meet its prerequisites, I can learn it. If I, want to increase a characteristic or a skill, I can train it during a Hearth phase instead of helping build the next farm at the Hearth or whatever it is that your group is doing next. You can spend that time training. So, it is profession based, just like every other BRP game, but that is just your starting point. Sure. And from there, it's your character to build out however you want.
So I'm going to steal one more question before Keith opens his mouth. Okay. So it being a fantasy world, right? So is this particular one, is this human centric, or are there races or kindred or kin or whatever terminology you like to use in there for players to choose from?
Yeah. So there are 4 different ancestries. They're the classic elf, human, dwarf, halfling. The land of Eurasian was a human-centric land with a large halfling population. There is a dwarf and elf city on the boundary of the lands, one in the mountains for the dwarves and one high atop a mountain for an elven eyrie. But both of them, basically when the Harrowing happened, said, this seems like a human problem, and closed their doors and said, we're no longer going to be a part of this. Okay. So it is a human-centric, but, you can play elves, dwarfs, halflings, human.
It's good to know elves are assholes no matter what game you're playing.
No matter what setting.
Some things never change. Okay, so I'm looking at your drive-through RPG catalog entry, and I'm looking at the artwork in here. I don't know your artist, but fantastic looking art. At least what I can see in the preview here on the page.
So her name is Erin Lamoureux. She worked with me in the video game industry a few jobs ago, and I knew she did work on the side doing illustrations, mostly people who want their D&D character drawn. She would do so. And I've worked with her a couple of times on a couple of my previous false starts, and every time she's been, if you want to do more, let me know. Okay. Last year before Chaosium Con, I said, I hired her and another artist to each do 3 pieces of line art, but I gave them art direction and pointed heavily at certain kinds of looks and styles of art. Aaron knocked it out of the park. The other artists did as well, but Aaron came to me and said, if you want, I'll do the rest of the art for the entire book. And I said, you're hired. So she did
good choice.
Everything except for 3 pieces of art in the book. And then about 2 months, I'd say, before we finished the book, she had done some, as I started to get into advertising, she had done some color to some of the black and white line work. We were going to go with that OSR inspired, heavy, just black and white look. And she sent me a color piece of art, and I put it in the manuscript just to see how it would look. And then I started cussing and called my wife into the room, and I said, look at this. It's too good. Now we have to do this in color. And I said, Aaron, I know this is not possible in the amount of time we have left, but what do you think about doing all of it in art? She says, I love it. I can do it. We'll get it done. And she did. Oh, nice. So she also...
So all the art is color?
All of the art is color. Everything in the book is like what you see on the drive-through entry. And, I had a kind of way that I wanted to do this book. I wanted you to be able to pick up the book and not know that it was some guy doing an indie project. I wanted you to think, well, where's the team of 20 people that did this? Where's the large professional shop that put this book? I wanted to be able to set it next to a book by anybody else and not go, well, I did what I could, right? I wanted to make it really stand out and look as good as I can make it. And, for me, I think we hit that mark. But it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well, I could tell, what I see on drive-through, the layout samples, the art, I think are spot on. Scott already alluded to it. I work in the industry too. I'm a freelance editor. So I see rough works as before they go to layout. I see stuff after layout. You definitely hit your goal of, in my opinion, both personal and professional opinion. You wanted something that looks professional. It doesn't look like it's, some dude in the garage, banging something out on, or this desktop publisher. You've nailed it. It looks really good.
Or the same PNG that you've seen in a dozen independent books, because and again, I'm not shitting on that. That's fine,
them, right?
But
everybody's got different budgets.
But I kind of want to jump on the bandwagon, because my big thing when it comes to RPGs, of course, is it's the artwork, it's the cartography, it's all of that. That's very important to me, and giving someone credit on the artwork is also important to me. But artwork is hit or miss, and I personally think that you dodged a bullet, because as much as traditional OSR, certain OSR, black and white, it's beautiful. I love that style, but you may have dodged a bullet of being lost in a sea of Shadow Dark, because Shadow Dark right now is the darling, and every other day there's insert word dark coming out, and someone may see something that's black and white and they just move on. But extremely talented. And the thing about the artwork is it's got to be immersive if you're trying to establish a world within it. Yeah. And consistency is important. I don't mind if there's multiple artists, but there still has to, and it's rattling when you're reading a role-playing game book and the artwork takes such a dramatic turn into the world it's establishing, because the styles are so different. The only one that I can think of that still gets away with that to this day is Dungeon Crawl Classics, but they're a special exception to that rule. But between the few pages that again are on drive-through, the background of the ruined cathedral there, or the building, the monsters that are here, even the maps, the coloring of the maps, it's a consistent whole. And like you said, if something's going to not say I used Photoshop version 4.0 with clip art.
Right.
And doesn't look like it's made by, just some guy just doing it for the first time. It's the art that's going to decide that for many people.
Yeah.
So I did the maps myself. So I'm happy that you like them. They
look great.
So, well, let me correct. I did the line art for the maps, and then I handed them off to Erin, and she made them spectacular. Right. Did all the writing, and I did all the layout. And learning to do the layout was a ton of fun, but also a huge challenge. And, I don't know how many times I went through that book and relayed everything out, because I was looking for, that specific feel. There was some great books that have been released, within the past couple of years that I picked up trying to just like, peer at every sentence and every paragraph to figure out how did they do that or what are they doing here. Like there's a book called, I think it's called Break. And they did this thing, and Dragonbane did it really well too, where almost every page was its own spread or was its own topic. So other than like our powers section, or like, I think the hexes in the region in the back of the book and the professions, almost every page is either a 1-page spread opposite another 1-page spread or a 2-page spread. That's all you need to know the information about that specific piece of the rules. Nice. And, so that was something that both Break and Dragonbane did that I tried to emulate, and it just makes it feel, to me, so much more readable and understandable as you're flipping through the book. But yeah,
bravo,
yeah,
bravo.
Yeah, this man right here, he will. It could be the best role playing game ever, but the moment he's hit his like 3rd or 4th widow or orphan, it's tossed over his shoulder. If the layout's bad, he does not have time for that, and a lot of people are like that, even if they don't work in the industry. It's just it's just the natural reaction that people have who it just stands out. Like I mean, I think one of the biggest ones is the format of Vampire the Masquerade, the 5th edition one. People love that game, but many of the fans of Vampire that I've spoken to and I talk to or hear online, it's just like, I can't read it. The layout is atrocious. I can't even get through it, and it's it's the size of a Bible. Yeah. And everyone's screaming, we need another edition, not because there's anything wrong with the game, just like, I can't read this.
Well,
and I mean, at Chaosium Con, they're talking about what they're doing with RuneQuest, because RQG, that book is a absolutely beautiful book, but it is hard for a new player to consume. Right. And so I've
been trying for like 5 years to consume it. I still can't.
Yeah. So I gave this advice at we did a panel at ChupacabraCon about what's happening at Chaosium, and the advice I gave there, I'll share here, is like, you do not have to use the whole book. Sure. Ignore that shamans exist. Ignore that sorcery exists.
Yeah.
Just play heroes that you've come up with, that follow the starter set, the single player adventure that's in there. Play that. Mm-hmm. Play a couple of the adventures using pre-gens, but just don't use the assistant shaman, and just focus on spirit magic, rune magic, and learning the combat system. And you will do yourself a ton of favors by just saying, okay, I know there's more to this world, but I do not have to learn it to play the game. Nobody hands somebody a Pathfinder book and says, now go find an encyclopedia on Galarian and learn all of the countries and peoples of Pathfinder before you can play Pathfinder. The same thing with D&D. Like, you get a player's handbook thrust at you, and nobody says, okay, well, we're playing in Forgotten Realms. Here's the 3 books you need to read about Forgotten Realms. And RuneQuest, it often feels like, because it is such a lore-rich world, people think, well, in order to play it, I must understand it. And that is so not true. You need to focus on, I think it was David Larkins said it at Chupa this last weekend, you need to focus on the tribe that you are in and the tribes that are near you that are going to try to steal your cattle. That's all you need to care about. You do not need to care about what is outside of your tribe, what is outside of your clan, what is outside of Sartar, what is outside of, like, all that other stuff is cool that it exists.
No, that's good advice.
But
I mean,
ignore it.
I am very much still, after 5 or 6 years of RuneQuest, I am still very much a beginner.
Yeah.
Because the system intimidates me. When the starter set came out, that finally is when it made sense to me.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, please, because
Yeah, I was going to say not to push, a product I worked on, but one of the things that made me really understand RuneQuest more was working on the weapons and equipment guide, which I'm pointing to because it's above my head here, right? That book is so much more than an equipment guide. It's got things about trade, things about gear, things about how to improve your lands, and it's so infused with RuneQuest that the starter set and the main core rulebook, you have those things, you don't need anything else. Like I could tell you, go buy the GM screen. It's got a great starter adventure in it as well. You can start tacking on more and more adventures and even make, the area around where the starter set takes place could become almost like a sandbox of all the adventures that are published for near there. But you don't need to know all of the cults. You don't need to know everything about the world. You just need to hone in on your character, your party, and what you're doing.
Yeah. No, I appreciate, one of the things I appreciate about the starter set is how it's presented, very similar to how the original RuneQuest was. I mean, it was three little paperback books, maybe 60, 70, 80 pages a piece, and that's all you needed. Now, of course, the mess that we're in is due to the past 50 years of that world being expanded and added upon. And you've got a very rabid fan base who have been there since day one. And then they are the ones who, for good or bad, have kind of established that, I wouldn't say necessity, but this high watermark of they're welcoming. I mean, I've never seen anyone who's been into RuneQuest who is just like, you don't know your shit, get the hell out of here. But they want you to eventually be able to get up to their level of knowledge so they can, talk about the fall of Arcat with you or whatever the fuck it is, and whatnot.
Think about the challenge that Chaosium had. Okay, we want to make a new edition of RuneQuest. And we need to not only make it accessible and appeal to new players, and the art alone did that for me, right?
Yeah.
But we need to convince a bunch of 50, 60-year-old grognards, hey, that thing you've been playing for 30 years, you should play this version instead, right?
Yeah.
Well, and that's
a
hard.
steep hill to climb.
Like, you got a horse pulling you both directions and saying, figure out how you're going to make it work for both.
Well, and also maybe convince some of the people that work there too. But that's another story. But no, yeah, that's
a whole different thing.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm not promoting anything, to any degree, but right now I'm scripting out. I'm just for shits and giggles. This is for no reason, but I think it's kind of also because it's just kind of in honor of our friend Bud who passed. I'm going through the Glorantha source book, chapter by chapter, and breaking it down in a humorous level of, can I make, I mean, I'm not anywhere near immersed in RuneQuest or Glorantha lore. I'm surrounded by people who are. I know we played through 6 seasons in Sartar, so I mean, it's a base foundation, but
sure.
To open up the source book is still, your eyes will get crossed. Your ears will start bleeding in certain areas. It's like, none of this makes any sense. But so for fun, I'm trying to break it down in simplistic terms and just kind of like, just for fun. But of course, you jump in feet first. It's like, okay, kids, let's start with the geography. Like, well, that's simple. Geography is easy, right? No, not on Glorantha.
No.
So, but I mean, but I feel you, because it is a rich world that deserves to not have that wall to climb for people. And it doesn't need to be intimidating, but there's really no easy path around that other than kind of what they're doing. It's like, well, we may not be able to change the aspect of the lore, but maybe we can make it more accessible by offering a new system that can get people in a lot easier than, and again, there's people who love RuneQuest who just like, I don't like this new version and whatnot. And
you're not going to change those opinions.
They're doing their thing, but no, but I'm happy that they're doing it, and I'm extremely happy that there's a response, and that is even if someone who's just like, well, I mean, sure, I'll give it a try now. That should be worth it, because then that's how the domino effect happens. So
I love the Glorantha source book so much. Like, what other RPG book is like, here, we're just going to give you 20 different academic essays that could be term papers on different random aspects of a world.
Yeah.
Like, I love it to death, but it is also the strangest RPG book that I own in my collection.
Yeah, no, it's the one thing I said about in the geography thing, and I'm paraphrasing here because I don't have it in front of me, was, okay, so let me get this straight. We've got 7 regions that are named after 7 sisters. So this would be the equivalent of New York City being divided into different boroughs called Karen, Tracy, Stephanie, Edna, and Beverly. And
God.
that's the tone we're going
Oh
with.
my
So
God.
I hope it ends up being fun.
I can't wait to watch this video.
Yeah, but so go ahead. So I was just going to say, so moving past the
I want to swing back to of Hearth and Harrowing.
Yeah.
So we're in the summer convention season. You went to ChupacabraCon this past weekend. Where can listeners find you throughout the rest of the summer and the going into the fall convention season? Where can they find you, and maybe get a taste of your game?
Sure. So convention-wise, I'm going to be sticking mostly close to home for the summer.
Okay.
Here in Central Texas, we've got T-Fest coming in early August, which is a local to the Austin metro area. It's their second year, so I'm going to go there. Beyond that, the calendar's still wide open. We're just coming off getting the book out the door, and so I knew I was going to do Chaosium Con. I knew I was going to do ChupacabraCon because I did them last year. I do Chupa every year, and beyond that, I'm coming in late and hot to these other ones, trying to figure out what can I afford to do, and what's going to be the best bang for my buck and use of my time. But I'm always online. InCharacterGames.com is our website. We have a Discord server for Of Hearth and the Harrowing. There's all the socials. If you just search Of Hearth and the Harrowing, you'll find me. Not on X, but I'm on Blue Sky. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, small YouTube channel I'm trying to start back up, etc.
Okay. Are you participating in any online virtual game conventions?
Not yet.
Bazillions of them.
If you know of ones that need more game masters and new fledgling games, shoot them my way.
Would you? We also extend this out to creators. Would you be interested, if you have the time, sometime in the future, running a one shot with us and other friends?
Absolutely.
Okay, good. We haven't had anyone say no yet, but that day will come where it's like, no.
Are you kidding me? I don't have time for that.
Yeah, exactly. No, because it's
for a living.
it definitely is. It's piqued my interest on
absolutely
various levels, and it's just the settlement and follower situation, the herring ass. I mean, mind you, this is just the comparison. When you start describing it, in my mind, I'm like, oh my God, it's like an RPG version of 7 Days to Die. This is fucking awesome. I love this. But without it's just the same zombies trying to kill you every 7 days over and over again. But no, I mean, I'm a giant survival, crafting, video gamer when it comes to that stuff. I just love it.
I don't do the video games, but I like the post-apocalyptic games. I like survival games, role-playing games. I'm a fan of, like, thematically, like Year Zero games with the the community building and all of that.
One of the things I really tried hard to do, though, was to make sure that the Hearth phase didn't get in the way of role playing. Right. Yeah. It can't be about counting pieces of wood or number of bricks of ore or something like that. Like if you've got a video game where you're doing a town builder or Minecraft or Terraria where you're trying to do this survival, build up your thing, like the computer is taking care of so much of that work for you. Right. Yeah. And so as an RPG, like I liked Forbidden Lands a lot, but I found the amount of bookkeeping that I had to do. Like, what do you mean? I have to like know how many whatever units of timber. I don't even know what the units are, but I have to keep track of hundreds of timber or hundreds of ore or hundreds of leather or hundreds of. So, you know, I simplified it way down. And then rather than, you know, have it just be about the heroes and what they can do, bringing in the villagers and, you know, a sheet where you name each one of your villagers. You give them a villager job and they get a percentage rating on that job. And so when a harrowing event happens and Yosef the blacksmith dies because of the harrowing event, you go, oh crap, A, you've had time role-playing with Yosef, but B, your blacksmith just died. Now I gotta take villager number 37 and say, okay, well, I guess you're the new blacksmith and we're gonna have to watch while you train up on how to do that because it's gonna be a while. And so you've got this...
The implications of that are kind of cool.
Yeah, and you've got this more like connective tissue between you and the Hearth in the form of these villagers. And what players find fairly quickly, and I've seen it happen playtest group after playtest group, is they start with this hero-centric, you start with your heroes, 3 villagers, a horse, and a wagon. And your first thing is to set up your hearth. And they set up their hearth and they start doing things and they don't really care about the villagers. I mean, they're just worker bees at that point. And then they quickly hit this wall where they're like, without more people, we cannot make this work. And suddenly it is not about we're going out there for high adventure. We're going out there to find more people, find more survivors so we can convince them that they'd be safer with us than somebody else and get them to come back to the hearth. Because if we don't have more people, we're not going to have enough workers to work in the fields that we need to produce food. We're not going to have enough people once we are producing enough food to build the blacksmith's forge or to build, you know, the tavern that we want because we all love drinking, or to build, you know, the temple because I'm a priest and I really want to have a temple. You know, this people as, you know, human resources become suddenly very real, and they hit this
I gotta live my real life in a game.
They hit this phase where they're like, I gotta find more people because we can't do it all on our own.
I need a secretary.
For me, I also like the possibility for interpersonal player chaos. Screw you, Keith. I'm going to go start my own hearth, and I'm taking Yosef with me.
No, not Yosef.
But yeah, it sounds fascinating. This is superb, and I definitely would like to get you back here to run us through a one shot of it. But
be happy to.
Oh God, yeah,
that would be awesome. What is coming next of Hearth and the Harrowing?
Sure. So we've got a GM screen that's just about done. I have my printed copy that we laminated all the pieces and used bookbinding tape to tape it together and everything. So I'll put a printable version of that out because all of the stuff we're doing is print on demand, and you can't really print on demand GM screens, but there are plenty of insertable GM screens out there. So the GM screen is next because it's BRP still. There's plenty of charts. We're not using the hit location, we're using major wound, but that major wound chart, the amount of times during playtests where I have to crack open a book just to find the major wound chart was to the point where even I, as somebody who generally doesn't use a GM screen, was like, okay, I need a GM screen because this one chart, I have to have it. And then, fumble charts and some other things are on there that, anyways, so that's the next thing is going to be the GM screen. And then the core book has 19 hexes in it. And if you do the math, 19 hexes essentially gets you a very large hex. of, we call them regions. And so the land of Erasion, the kingdom that the game takes place in, is 7 of those regions. Right. And so you get one region in the core book, and it comes with one adventure site, which is a, multiple location dungeon crawl style ruin that you can explore. But as you can imagine, with 6 other regions out there ready to be explored, we've got a map that has all of them in the core book. But that's going to be where we start focusing on next, is individual region books. I'm either going to do, and I haven't fully decided, 32-page regions or 64-page double region books. So there'll be Goodman Games style 32-page soft covers. And then once we get all 7 of them published, I can lump them all together into a new hardback if people want it in that format instead. So that's what's coming right around the corner. The games that we played at Chupa and Chaosium Con this year, I called them, of Hearth and the Harrowing Year 2, but they are essentially all in the next region over from the one in the core book, because Year 1 was people doing stuff in the core book region. So that, as you can imagine, is mostly written already. Focusing in on completing up that first 32 pages, or then making the hard decision. I put a plot line right on the edge of 2 regions, and it fit perfectly where I needed it to be. And now I'm like, do I cut this plot line between 2 different books? Do I shove the plot line all the way into one region, or do I
to be continued?
Do I put both of these in one book, and now my region book is 64 pages instead of 32?
That's a conundrum.
Hey, not every D&D gazetteer was the same size, so it's okay. Don't worry about it too much. But I mean, if people love it, they will buy it. And I know fans of Chaosium, they hate thick books. So not too many worries there. But we're definitely, we're like, no, we want it all. We want it all now. We don't want it divided up into 16 books. But okay, whatever, Chaosium. But yeah, no, that's superb. I mean, and I mean, the emergent aspect of the world is exciting to be a part of, and hear for that, because that's the other thing. It's like, this is a lot of these games are like, and I'm done. And it's like, well, what else are you going to be doing? It's like, what do you mean?
Yeah, I mean, I have to tamp down the, I could also do this system. I could also do this new setting. I could also do, I have to tamp that down. Let's support the thing we have. I have tons of ideas for it. I have ideas on, okay, let's say all of the regions do well and we're done with that. Like, there are, the fiction of the world is that when the harrowing happened, the mountain passes were closed, the seas were blockaded to keep the corruption all within this one land. Do you think that actually worked?
Of course it did. Not.
So, like, all I need to do, if enough people like of Hearth and the Harrowing that they want the next kingdom over, we could keep going, right? I've even got the idea that, like, well, what if Hearth and the Harrowing took place on a ship, right? You leave the land of Erasion, and now your Hearth is a boat, and instead of villagers, you have crew. You have the same whole core systems rebuilt for doing this same sort of like, now you, instead of hex crawling, you're island hopping, and it's I don't want to say it writes itself, but like,
could it be on a Disney Fun cruise? I'm just curious.
Oh yeah, you either did research on us before coming on here or something, because you're pushing each other's buttons perfectly, with what you have and also the prospects. I mean. So, but that's he
didn't go down the pirate road, so we're safe there.
Well, I mean, if you've got a ship that's going island to island, like, I didn't have to say the pirate word for you to go "arr," right?
He did it. Now I'm hooked.
I mean, you're not buying these resources. You got to get them somehow.
That's right.
Fine.
But we're also, the expansion books are going to have little bits of rules in them because you got to have, well, you don't have to, but there were things that I was not able to cram into the 192 page core book. So this next one is going to have like siege equipment, like cannons and things like that. And so once I've added cannons in, like pirate ships and ship,
that's a natural evolution.
Are just right there.
Yeah. And then you also have me running it and like just really promoting the player versus player, because you add cannons to Hearth. It's just like, no, I'm shooting right at you. Oops. Sorry
Keith, I shot you. Yeah.
Oh man, fantastic. Jared, is there anything else that we didn't ask you or we didn't cover in regards?
We didn't
to your
ask
game?
him one question.
What's that?
What's your favorite Dorito?
I'm a
Rando question.
I'm a Cool Ranch fan, but also classic, cheesy Doritos, whatever that. I don't even know what the flavor is called. Just Dorito flavor? I don't know.
Nacho
cheese Dorito.
Yeah.
Either of those, I will smash a bag of those in a heartbeat.
Fair enough.
Anything outside of that, it feels a little exotic for exotic's sake. And I'm like, why are we doing this? We've got Cool Ranch Doritos and nacho cheese. What else do we need?
We don't need anything else but those two.
It's all MSG to me.
There you go.
But yeah. So I mean, anything else you'd like to say about your game?
No, I think we hit the high points. Okay. I just really appreciate you guys having me on, and I love talking about the game. I don't know if it's obvious, but like I could talk about it for hours, and just thank you so much for the time.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And we definitely want to follow up with you we don't do a lot of actual plays, but when we get an opportunity to do it and we actually can get with the creator to do it, because there's offers out there, but everyone's busy. It's no big deal, but we get you back on. This would be exciting and definitely, make, promote the game further, because people listening to it being played or watching it being played, as we all know in this current day and age in the hobby is important. Yeah. In promoting your game, it's part and parcel, unfortunately, but it does help, and people love it.
And if you're, I know you guys aren't, but if anybody is in the Austin metro area, we will be doing demo days at game stores. We just did one at a great little game store here in Cedar Park, Texas, called the Secret Lantern. We did a 3 2-hour demo sessions. We're going to do Dragon's Lair at, I think we're going to do that one on Free RPG Day coming up here soon. The Emerald Tavern is a great board game, role-playing game, both store and restaurant. We're going to do that one, I think, the Sunday after Free RPG Day. So we'll have plenty of opportunities for people to come play.
Now I'm jealous, too.
Fantastic.
We ain't got shit like that.
Austin's got some great shops. Great shops.
I think we need to move to Austin.
But the problem is Austin's in Texas, so
there's
offense.
That. So, all right. Well, Jared, thank you for hanging out with us this evening.
Thank you so much for having me.
Mm-hmm. I've enjoyed learning more of the Hearth and the Harrowing. Mm-hmm. Now I got to go buy it because it sounds really cool.
It's available on Drive-Thru RPG right now.
Yeah,
it is. I got the page up. So listeners, go check it out. It is on Drive-Thru. According to the very long review I just skimmed through, that guy gave you a glowing review. His name's
so nice.
Carl.
I was so happy to see Carl. Carl's review was amazing. And he played it at Chaosium Con. And, just could not say enough good things about it. And we love those kinds of reviews.
Yeah. And it's the actual drive-through review, not these jerk-offs who do comments on discussions but don't actually buy the game. So take a moment.
It's an actual purchaser left a review, but the one of the things that I took away from it was, he's like, all jokes aside, he says, I'm kind of bummed that the game doesn't show up on the front page of Drive-Thru. And that's just because of their algorithm, because he's so impressed with the game.
You got to get more sales to push you further up that list. So
Yep. Fact.
Well, hopefully this episode will drive people your way once we get it published. So looking forward to that. And everything we talked about, listeners, as you know, there'll be links and information in the descriptions. So yeah, I don't know if we're going to have a third segment for this one, Keith. And if not, I'll cut this part out. But otherwise, Jared, thank you so much.
Thank you.
We appreciate it. And let's ride off into the what, Keith?
Into the sunset.
Insert music here.
Womp womp.